And there are fears that this terrible weather, these appalling heavy floods, could recur in the south of Spain.
OK, Adam, thank you. It's not the first time, is it, that parts of Europe have been impacted in this way?
No, we're seeing across Europe more and more flooding, scientists, say, as a result of climate change. But this is the worst flooding in Spain since 1996, where 87 people died after torrential flooding hit the Pyrenees. We also saw back in July 2021, 243 people very sadly lost their lives, with vast flooding hitting Germany, Belgium, Romania, Italy and Austria. And of course, there we go, we have some of those pictures there from 2021. And of course, this flooding is heavily tied in with stormy weather as well. And if we look at the worst storms that have hit Europe in December 1999, we had Storm Lothar, which hit France, Switzerland and southwest Germany. More than 110 people sadly lost their lives, wind speeds of over 120 miles an hour. And that had an estimated damage cost to infrastructure of over 10.6 billion euros. And as I mentioned earlier, scientists are now looking at this happening more and more often, they say, as a result of climate change. We've got pictures there from Spain. These are what would have been once-in-a-decade events that they say are now happening more frequently, and they are stronger in intensity.
But no, thank you. Those pictures from yesterday, of course,
Shocking,
weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about those pictures actually around about this time yesterday, weren't we?
We certainly were. We certainly were. You know, fantastic to see that successful rescue. We know that 70 people were rescued from rooftops, 200 people rescued kind of as rescuers then got them down from the top of their properties as well. And you then contrast that helicopter rescue to the pictures we saw of the people in the care home who were still waiting for that help. Really tragic in so many cases.
Yeah. We were talking yesterday about how people actually get onto the roof. And the person I was talking to was saying, if there's floodwater coming up behind you, you'll get onto the roof. Yeah,
in many cases, have to go into the attic and punch your way through the physical roof.
Exactly that.
Terrifying.
What else?
We've got to the weird part of the US election. Halloween is having its impact. Sorry, let me correct myself. We've got to the weirder part of the US election. Halloween is having its impact because it's been a day of costumes and gimmicks on the campaign trail. Let's take a look. This is Donald Trump. He's entering that truck because he was seizing on comments from President Biden where he called Trump supporters garbage while he played dress up himself.
essentially stranded this village here. The people are not able to get from one side to the other. People are waking up this morning, Kay, and just trying to deal with the magnitude of what has happened here. As you said, 95 people known to have died, thousands are without water and electricity. And this is the scale of the clear-up. I mean, this area here was, you know, a totally normal sort of Valencian town a couple of days ago. People are coming out of their homes this morning. I've seen a lot of elderly ladies in the town behind us just in tears on their doorstep. I don't know if we can have a little walk along here and you can see how thick the mud is. There's a bench over here which is virtually entirely submerged by the mud. And you can also see the buildings to the left of me. You can see that all the belongings inside the buildings have been forced by the force of the water right up against the doors of the buildings. Now, today, the Prime Minister, Pedro Sanchez, is visiting this area. He's going to come down here and try and reassure people. He's told people in Spain that the government will do what it can to help them. But there are lots of questions that people have here. People have been asking us for help. They just can't get emergency vehicles down here. They need help just clearing up their properties. But they also have questions about why there weren't warnings a bit sooner. It was 8 o'clock in the evening before these flood warnings came through, Kay, and it just didn't give people in these villages enough time to get out. And this is the scale of what they're facing this morning. They're using shovels. They're using the water that's actually from the flood water itself to just try and clear up some of their properties. They're being helped. There are obviously the emergency services here. There is also the military emergency unit, and 1,000 soldiers have also been drafted in. But it's the clear-up that these people just, you know, the task, I would say, Kay, seems unsurmountable for many, many people here. These are people's homes, and these are people's livelihoods. There is concern that the weather could worsen again, but for now, the people who are waking up here are just really trying to come to terms with what on earth has happened and how on earth they start to rebuild their lives here.
OK, Jane, thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Still to come on The Breakfast Show for you. With employers set to be hit hard by the Chancellor's tax hike, speaking to the chief of an employers' association.
I am, we understand that there are still many, many people missing. And that's the thing that they'll be focusing on now, the authorities. Where are those people? Are they safe? Is this death toll going to rise further?
Absolutely, Siobhan, and I think you put your finger on it there, because it is the fact that it is so many little towns and villages like this one where they're affected. It's almost like, where do the authorities know where to start? This is someone's home, this is their ground floor. Again, they're just using really rudimentary garden equipment to try and clear out the mud. And then what people are doing here by the side of the old river, they're pulling out their belongings. I don't think they have much hope that they're actually going to be able to salvage any of these things. Mattresses, mirrors, chairs. There's an old coffee pot here. This is just 2 days ago. These were in people's houses. These were normal houses with a beautiful view over a gorgeous river, and now it looks like a tsunami has come through here. And as with any home, you can see the combination: soft furnishings, we've got children's bike helmets, tables, chairs, potentially passed down through generations through the families. People here are really despairing. I've seen a couple of elderly ladies just a little earlier who were in tears because they just stood on their doorstep and just, where do they start? It is a massive task for them. Well, the people in this area know that unexpected storms can happen. Climate change, of course, means storms like this could be more frequent in the future. What exactly is going on? Let's hear from our science correspondent, Thomas Moore, who's been taking a look.
It is almost impossible to imagine quite so much rain in such a short time. 491 millimetres, just short of half a metre, fell in some areas around Valencia, according to the Spanish Weather Service. That's a year's worth of rain in just 8 hours. The weather system that caused the flooding is not unusual on the eastern side of the Iberian Peninsula at this time of year. Winds flowing over the still warm waters of the Mediterranean picked up lots of moisture, then mixed with a pool of cold air sitting high in the atmosphere over the Valencia region. This allowed huge storm clouds to develop with intense downpours. The low-pressure storm also ground to a halt, surrounded on all sides by high atmospheric pressure. Its path was blocked. The heaviest rain fell on just a smaller area, and it was quickly overwhelmed. Now, climate change will make storms more severe. The atmosphere is currently just over a degree warmer than it was in pre-industrial times, holding around 7% more moisture. But we are currently on track for more than 3 degrees of warming by the end of the century.
We can see that we're not ready for the storms that we're receiving now in our cities. They are not built to withstand this amount of water, this amount of destruction, this amount of power, and it's going to be worse in the future. This is an urgent call to adapt our cities where we can.
Spain has endured climate extremes in recent years, with a severe drought in the northeast forcing authorities to ration tap water. The dry heat has also hard-baked the soil surface, so water runs off rather than being absorbed. And all that rain had nowhere to go.
So it's going to come as cold comfort, really, to the people living here that these kind of things could be happening more often. Well, we've just met Sandra, who is from this area of Picante. Luckily, her flat is on the 4th floor, so hers is dry, but her family are not so lucky. What has happened to your family?
Yeah, my family, they are not so lucky. They lose almost everything. They have one building with one garage and 3 floors. They at least could be at the last one. But the 2 cars, no, 3, because my grandfather also have his car in this floor, they lost everything. At least my father is alive, because he wanted to take the car and put it in another place, and when he wanted to come back, it was almost impossible. One house say, come on here, please, you will die. At least he is alive in this house, so I'm lucky for that.
So your family became separated? Your father went off to save the car?
Yes, and after 2 hours or 3, he come back to my home, and my mother and my brother at least know he is alive. So, but these hours were horrible.
Well, yes. And your family moved to the higher floors, and what could they see out of the window?
The window, it's broken, so they could see something in the last one, but everything was like one river, so it was impossible to cross. He was jumping on the roof of the houses to come to my home, so it was impossible to walk.
And so now, today, they are starting to clean up. Have they had any help?
Yes, I'm searching water at least to drink, and we have something to eat. But to clean, as you can see, there is some people that with the tractors they can clean at least the road to bring up the food and water for more people. So,
do they still have electricity?
We have electricity, but water, no. We are lucky because just my street have lights, but the water at least now is so important because now we have everything dirty. We want to go outside to have more water to drink, but it's become more dirty because you go with the shoes and the clothes, everything is dirty. So.
Are they worried about more bad weather, more rain maybe coming?
Yeah, I have seen that it will rain again at 6:30, 6:30. So we have to do everything now. So we have some hours to clean and to have the resources.
And are your family going to stay here, or are they going to go somewhere?
Here. Yeah, they are coming to here with my boyfriend. He has one car. He lives in Valencia. So they are coming with my father, my mother, and my brother. And at least they will have something to cook, because with the electricity we have the kitchen at least ready to do it. So
it must have just been absolutely terrifying for them.
It's terrible for them. Yeah, they are asustados. They are scared.
Yeah.
So for them, this situation, it could be impossible in their mind. And in my mind, I never have seen something like that.
Do you think they will be able to come back and rebuild here and stay here and clean their house?
I think yes, but it will have time. It will need time because all the wall of the outside part of my house is down, so everything is destroyed. And I don't know, at least they have one door so they can close and come here, but it's scary, yes.
And ever experienced anything like this before?
Never. Something like that, it was the pandemic epoca, so you cannot go down. Everyone is like you, so nobody can help you. The police and the people who are from the Ayuntamiento, etc., they are like you, so it's impossible that you have
and the fact that behind us the bridge has gone, that is going to make it very hard for people to come and help.
Yes, and not just this one. There was 4 bridges, and there is just the one that it's
on left. Well,
Sandra,
really good of you to talk to us, and Caltha as well, your dog.
Yes.
And just before you leave us, do you? How will they clear up their house? I mean, how will they? When will they be able to live a normal life? Do you think?
I think at least in.
We move over here because there's a tractor coming. We don't want to get in its way. And this is what's happening, you see. We're seeing heavy machinery being brought in by some. Yeah. This doesn't look like the authorities. It looks like it's just maybe a local farmer or somebody coming to help.
Yes, it's from the farm that is just next, and everything is with water, so they lose also everything. And they are coming here with the machines to clean and to help to leave the streets clean to the Cruz Roja that they are bringing. They are bringing the water, the food. So if there is more people that come with their cars, the particular cars, they will make.
I mean, here we have the river. It came, everything. It went. It was flooded, everything. So we come across the home. We couldn't we couldn't save anything from the first floor. The second and third floor are hopefully okay, but we lost everything. This is something you see maybe in the movies, in the news, and you never expect this to happen to us, but finally happened, and yeah, we have to find a new home now, and it's devastating. Yeah.
We can see the watermark on the side. You can see how high the water came. But we were just saying, what's really obvious is that it wasn't just a lot of water. It was really fast and really strong.
It was really fast. Indeed, I wasn't here. My mother and my sister was in the third floor, but I was in another company. I was in a very high floor. Always, I was stuck there. But yeah, you can see I came like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I saw everything. The water, yeah, everything. The water was so high. Everything was.
And what was this before? This area, was this a garage or was this a living space? No,
this is the living space. This is the living space. You can see here the TV. I think he's recording the TV.
And the fireplace.
But for example, you can see the windows are there. You can see the window right there.
Right. We'll just turn around, James. He's just showing that the windows from the property.
The window is there.
That's all the way down there.
Yeah, we have the other there. That is inside the home. We don't know many things where are.
Your parents must have been terrified.
Yeah, my mother was terrified. She is with our dog, with our pet. Yeah, they were in the last floor. I was calling them. They were just screaming. The water is coming. This has never happened to us. So they were screaming. They were terrified because they think the water could go outside to the third floor. So finally didn't, hopefully, but yeah, it was the sound of the wall falling down was terrible, and yeah.
Are they worried about the house now, the structure? Because if the wall has fallen down, is it safe to live in those upper stories?
We don't know because anybody came here to see how is the structure, but we know that that part is almost falling down. So yeah, I think this is not a secure place. We have to find another home, another place to be. We don't have electricity, we don't have water, so yeah, we have to go.
Adrian, thank you so much. Really good of you to talk to us, and really hope your parents managed to get sorted out and get somewhere to stay. Thank you very much. Well, the story of Adrian and his family and Sandra that we spoke to earlier is replicated all the way down the street and on every street, really, in this part of the town in Picaña. It really is a desperate scene. We're going to be reporting from here throughout the rest of the day, but for now, I'll hand you back to Wilf in the studio.
Jane, great stuff as always. Thanks so much. And as Jane mentioned earlier as well, a special programme coming up at 9 p.m, but more coverage from Jane and the team in the Valencia area throughout the day. For now, we're going to go live to central London, where the Justice for Harrods Survivors campaign is about to give an update on the investigation into failings over allegations against Mohammed Al-Fayed, and we're expecting this press conference to start any moment now. And of course, this story has been rumbling on for the last couple of weeks as it relates to those allegations against Mohammed Al-Fayed, and we're expecting this press conference to start in the next minute or so. And here come some of the lawyers that are leading that group, the Harrods Survivors group, and let's listen in now.
Well, first of all, good morning, everyone. Can I apologise for the fact for the slightly late start? The reason was me, but the occasion and the excuse was British Rail.
In anything approaching a sensible amount of time. So if there are questions that we don't cover, then do please ask about them in the Slido app. So as ever, I will start with some big picture opening remarks.
ya está en el tema y ve que... Yo no pensé ayer, estaba preparado gente, pero todo ese tipo de cosas acaban en IFEMA, no sé qué. La justicia me parece muy pequeña. No sé qué bueno va a estar, pero imagino tocaría algo, pues voy a la morena, no.
Hola, hola, hola. Sí.
Paso a continuación. Bien, buen día, buenos días, presidente. Se incorpora a la reunión de CECOPI convocada expresamente junto con el resto de la actividad habitual que venimos desarrollando, también la ministra, secretario de Estado. Hay una serie de decisiones técnicas que se están tomando, una serie de medidas que se están tomando. A continuación, después de esta comparecencia, podremos trasladarlas, no solamente con respecto a la reconstitución en provincia de Valencia, sino con la situación de ahora de la provincia de Castellón. Pero como cuestión previa quiero agradecer muy especialmente la presencia y la atención del presidente. Querido presidente, gracias por venir tan pronto y por el contacto que desde el principio, contigo a través de WhatsApp, con la vicepresidenta, con el comité donde estaban también Ministro de Interior, Ministro de Defensa, desde el primer momento con la delegada del Gobierno aquí. Esta colaboración y esta coordinación son fundamentales, son necesarias, vamos a seguir con ellas. Y igual de importantes, pero sobre todo más, la de todos nuestros equipos, todos nuestros efectivos que has podido comprobar que están al día a día, que están al minuto, tomando todas las decisiones coordinadas no solamente con su experiencia, sino con su capacidad. Vuelvo a reiterar todas las fuerzas y cuerpos de seguridad del Estado, del Gobierno, de otras autonomías que también están aportando lo mejor de sí mismos y me perdonáis muy especialmente de los servicios municipales, de los alcaldes, de los concejales, de los efectivos de los ayuntamientos, de la Diputación Provincial, por supuesto, de mis propios compañeros de la Generalitat Valenciana. Esa coordinación y esa colaboración está siendo fundamental y va a seguir, sobre todo desde el grandísimo dolor, que en paralelo va con un gran nivel de dedicación. Muchas gracias, insisto, presidente, por tu cercanía, por tu presencia tan rápida y tan adecuada para todos nosotros, y recibimos este mensaje con mucho cariño. Muchas gracias, presidente.
Muchas gracias, presidente, delegada, ministra, secretario de Estado, autoridades y, en primer lugar, el agradecimiento del Gobierno de España a todos los servidores públicos. En circunstancias como las que ahora mismo está atravesando la Comunidad Valenciana, hay que poner en valor a lo público, a todos los trabajadores y trabajadoras de todas las unidades, de todos los cuerpos de protección civil que están trabajando día y noche para poder encontrar a las personas ahora mismo desaparecidas, también encontrar los cuerpos de las personas fallecidas por esta tragedia y tratar también de contribuir a que los ciudadanos y ciudadanas puedan lograr recuperar su día a día lo más pronto posible. Yo quisiera, en primer lugar, después de esta reunión, el trasladar a la ciudadanía que vive en la provincia de Valencia y también de Castellón, que por favor la dana continúa y que por favor se queden en casa, que no salgan, que se queden en casa, que atiendan a todas las llamadas de los servicios de emergencia, que atiendan todos sus requerimientos, todas sus recomendaciones, porque ahora mismo lo más importante es salvaguardar el número de vidas posible y garantizar el número de vidas posible en esta crisis tan dramática, tan trágica que estamos viviendo desde hace unos días a esta parte. Quisiera reafirmar el compromiso del Gobierno de España con la Comunidad Valenciana. Solidarizarnos de nuevo con las víctimas, con sus familiares, y trasladar también el compromiso del Gobierno de España y de todas las unidades que pertenecen al sistema de protección civil nacional, nuestro compromiso por tierra, mar y aire, por todos los medios, el tiempo que haga falta, con todos los recursos posibles para encontrar ahora mismo a las personas desaparecidas. En segundo lugar, trasladar también a la ciudadanía de la Comunidad Valenciana el compromiso del Gobierno de España de la absoluta colaboración y cooperación a través de la Delegación de Gobierno.
Fully collaborate through our ministries and through local government, the crisis committee that we've set up, so that we can give you a peace of mind and provide the answers that are required and that are so difficult to find. This crisis has now been raised to level 2, the Dana weather phenomenon. The Spanish government has mobilized a huge amount of resources and of people. We have over 1,000 soldiers that have been sent here, primarily to Valencia, over 1,800 national police members, 750 civil guard, 200 land soldiers and some 300 vehicles, helicopters and aircraft that are required for the civil protection work for the local government in Valencia. And I wish to tell you that any additional resource that's needed, you can count on the government of Spain. As I said yesterday, we will not abandon the people of Valencia. We will be here with you for all the time necessary and deploying all resources necessary. Our priority, obviously, right now is to find victims, to find missing persons, also so that we can really address the anxiety that families of victims and missing persons are going through. And secondly, as I said yesterday, and the Ministry of the Local Territorial Policy said, also the state will deploy all resources, including financial resources, to rebuild and recover as soon as possible. And as we said yesterday at the Council that will be held on Tuesday, we will declare this area of Valencia a disaster zone, and any other areas that are affected by this DANA high altitude isolated depression phenomenon. And as I said at the start, the most important thing is that Spanish people are aware that this phenomenon has not finished. The Spanish Weather Agency has still raised alert in Valencia and elsewhere around Spain. And so I urge everybody to heed those recommendations and to heed the advice of the law enforcement and protection authorities. It's a very emotional time for many families. Tomorrow is All Saints' Day, and for all of those who have been affected, please stay at home. Please heed the warnings that will allow us to save lives also. Last but not least, yesterday I was able to talk to Ursula von der Leyen, the President of the European Commission. The Commission and all the European Union member states are behind us. They are offering support and resources so that we can address this tragedy as efficiently as possible. And of course, we're very grateful for that solidarity. Everybody in Valencia and the rest of Spain can rest assured that we will mobilize all resources, not just those from the government of Spain and the regional government of Valencia, but also of the European Commission and all the EU institutions. So thank you very much. Thank you also to the press for reporting on this. And as I said at the start, I am here at your availability.
Yeah.
That's why I said when I got down earlier.
Well, I thought it was about doing that.
Picking up. Well, that was the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez giving an update at an emergency centre in Valencia. He's at one of these centres where they're coordinating the rescue efforts. He gave us a bit of a rundown of the numbers involved. 1,800 national police, 750 civil guard, 200 land soldiers, 300 vehicles and an aircraft being used as well. But he reinforced the message that we heard from the Transport Minister a little earlier on today, that they fear that there are still bodies potentially in many of the cars that we've seen piled up along the sides of roads. He said that the state will give the support that is needed, but he urged everyone to heed the advice because he pointed out that the phenomenon is not finished. This high altitude, low pressure phenomenon is not finished. There is a concern that the weather could worsen a little bit later on. It's All Saints' Day here in Spain tomorrow, a day when people would traditionally be with their families. He is urging people not to take to the roads and to stay at home. But where we are, in Picaña, which is just south of Valencia, you can see there's a clear up going on at the moment. We've just seen in the last few minutes a group of youngsters arrive. You may be able to see them. They are down the road. We're hearing a warning coming through on all of our phones. I think this is similar to the emergency warning that maybe they had It's normal. They're saying it's normal not to be alarmed. I'll just return to what I was saying, that we saw a short time ago. You can see these teenagers who've come down. They've just come down from Valencia. They're not an organised group. They're just a bunch of friends. There are lots of elderly people who live in this area, and they're really struggling to clear up the mud. So the young people have come down. They've come down armed with brushes, and they're clearing away the mud outside of people's homes. And they're clearing the drains as well, to try and allow any new water that comes to get down the drain system, and presumably not re-go into these homes. But of course there is concern here that they may do all of this, and if the weather turns again tonight, then they're going to be affected again. I think we can talk to Rocio. Rocio, can we talk to you? Thank you for talking to us, and you speak English. Rocio, tell us about what happened to you. What was it like yesterday?
Well, it was like a disaster. I can compare it like to the film The Impossible. I think it's quite similar. I live down here, right there, and the thing is that the river took over there, and everything was just floated. The water was running like hell. It was a bit crazy and scary. We have an old neighbor down there, and she needed refugee, so I took her to my house because she couldn't be somewhere else.
There seems to be a lot of older people who live in this area, especially on the ground floor of the buildings.
Most of the people that live here, I think that maybe are families with children, old people, and it's quite sad because this is not like a very wealthy area, you know.
In terms of what help you've had from the authorities, we haven't seen many around. It seems just to be friends and neighbours who are helping.
Yes, I think that it's quite sad that the authorities are not here helping us, but I know from sure that in other areas of the town, they are the government, they are helping, but we just saw a firefighter's car, and that is the first one that we see.
Just now?
Yes, now. And it's quite sad because we need help as well.
Did people die in some of the buildings around here?
It's very scary to know that maybe if you were staying in the street like for 5 more minutes or so, I think that maybe some people would be dead because there are people that have died.
And what do you think of the youngsters who've turned up today, the teenage boys with their brushes?
It's amazing, yes. No, it's amazing, and we are very thankful for them because, for example, I live in the 4th floor and I don't need help as well, but it's just the whole street. We need help, everything. There are people that have lost everything. So if someone wants to help and come around.
Are you worried that the Prime Minister has just said that people need to heed warnings, that the weather event may not be finished, that there may be more bad weather to come?
Well, I didn't know that, so that's first news for me. But luckily we have light. We have power.
Yes.
But we don't have water, so that's one of the main problems that we have. And it's quite sad to say this, but yesterday we have to go to Mercadona, and Mercadona was not open. We did need to steal the things because we don't have anything here.
And we're seeing people are bringing things, aren't they? But it seems to be people's friends or their younger relatives are coming to the area
all
with stuff.
these boys are friends of my boyfriend, and all the people that you see is just people from the neighbor.
We can see down there, I don't know if you can see it there, James, they're sort of wrestling a tree which looks like it's been uprooted away. And will you stay here? I mean,
yes, of course I will stay here. All these people need our help, so I won't go to anywhere else.
Okay. Rahel, really good to talk to you. Thank you very much for joining us on Sky. I'll let you go back to the clean-up. I think we're going to take you down this street as well, down this way. This area where we're in, it's a town which is just downriver, actually, from the very aptly named town of Torrent, which is that direction up the river. The water barreled down here. We've moved one street away from the river now, just to show you really how far the mud travelled. The river that's one street away, 3 of the bridges in that river have now disappeared. So that's really hampering the emergency services coming and trying to get help
They can't cross those bridges, obviously. There was one bridge still operating. But the people who live here just say they've never seen anything like it. We can see a car here which has been pushed up against a tree. And this is one of hundreds and hundreds that we've seen during the course of the morning in our drive down here. This is by no means an unusual sight in this part of Spain. And if we cross over and look at the other side of the road over there, you can see a shop where I think it's a garage actually, and a car is stuck under the roller shutter. And a lot of the roller shutters, a lot of these buildings, the ground floors were used as garages, and we've seen a lot of damage to the roller shutters in these areas. More cars piled up on top of each other up here. And as Rojo was just saying there, no sign of the emergency services here, really. It is very much a clear-up that's happening by friends, by family. Look at this one here. They have their wine rack out, their chest, their cabinet out on the street. And it is really, really upsetting here. It's a beautiful sunny day. People have come down to help, but for so many of the people living here, the enormity of what has happened in the last 24 hours is just too much to bear. Let's take you across to my colleague Adam Parsons, who is at another location not far from here.
You look behind me, you see those cars stacked on top of each other. We have to keep quite still here because there is such a sliver of internet link that we've come here. If you go up more centrally, you can't contact the outside world. So these people feel cut off. They've got no shops, very little in the way of emergency service support. So as I look around me now, I can see people using anything they can get to try and drag mud out of their homes. That noise you can hear is somebody trying to smash a protective barrier off the front of a shop, and that is repeated again and again. This is what happens when you get natural disasters, is that they simply come. I spoke to one woman called Veronica, lives on the corner, there are 2 kids. She said in the course of a minute, they went from having heavy rain to having 2 meters. That is over my height of water running through this town, sweeping away cars, smashing through homes, sweeping possessions in front of it. 95 people are known to have died in these floods so far. And I have to say, this town isn't even the worst one that's been affected in this region. The grim reality is that everyone in Spain expects that that number, 95, is going to grow. And there are fears that this terrible weather, these appalling heavy floods, could recur in the south of Spain.
Adam Parsons there. Well, behind me, you can see a group of youngsters. They're trying to lift up this roller shutter. So much debris are trapped behind them. They're trying to use brute force and a hammer. And these are not an organised group. These are just teenagers who've come down from Valencia. They've come down to help. A lot of them have brought shopping trolleys with water on them. And a lot of them are young relatives or friends of the people who live in this area. We've got some footage we can show you, actually, which are some of the scenes that we saw on our way down from Valencia this morning of cars. And as you drive along the motorway, you just see car after car after car piled on top of each other. We've seen articulated lorries knocked on their sides. And it is like a tsunami. It's like a tsunami has swept through this area. And it's the speed that it came through, which is clearly very, very terrifying for people. We've had people in this town whose father went out to move the car because he was worried about the car being damaged. And then he was lucky to escape with his life. He ended up going into a neighbour's house, going into a house where the car was left behind. And then there was a really terrifying wait for his family while they tried to re-establish communications with him. These are all, you know, people's lives that have been absolutely devastated by what's happened here. We're just going to take you over to this building over here where there's somebody I think we can hopefully talk to.
I think people here would really like to see the presence of the emergency services. We spoke to Rojo just a short while ago, and she was pointing out that this is quite a poor area. And she wonders whether the emergency services have perhaps gone to one of the wealthier areas. But I think it's also just the issue of the scale. This is a third of the country that's been affected by this. This is the very worst area, but it is every street in this town that has been affected. Every street had these cars like this. Hello, my name's Jane. What's your name?
Mara. My name is Mara.
Mara, really nice to meet you. Hi. Tell us what your experience was. What happened?
3 days ago, we were here in our house, and my grandpa's called us and told, come here, look at the river. We came down, and the water was increasing. So very fastly we took our parents, well, our grandparents, because our house is this, and their house is the one of, like, the boys are trying to open my grandpa's house.
That is the roller shutter that they're trying to smash up.
And my brother and I didn't want that my parents, well, my grandparents stay there, so we took them to our house. And my parents were buying food as a normal day. So we called them to come as fast as they could. And my parents called my family, well, my uncle, my cousin, because they also live nearby here. And it was so stressful because when they were coming, the water was coming, it was very stressful.
It must have been really scary.
Yeah.
And your parents made it home? They got home?
Yes, they got home.
They got home safely. And you are on an upper story?
Yeah.
You were upstairs, so all of your family are safe?
Yes. And the water was 1.5 meters, but we thought that it could go more and more. So we take, you know, the thing where you can go, steps.
Stairs?
Yes, stairs. And we take some water, food, but we couldn't have enough time enough. And the stair is inside my house in the case that we needed to go up.
Did you think you might have to go on the roof?
Yes.
You were
yes.
so scared. And how long did you stay up there and watch the water?
We've been there from 7 on the night, but the water 4 hours. And you know, you can see everything is destroyed, and it's very hard.
You have your family here. There are some young people who've come from Valencia to help.
Yes.
What help do you need?
We need water, food. As I mentioned, the most important thing is the water, because we can't have a shower, we can't brush our teeth, we can't wash our clothes. I mean, they're so dirty, and we can't do our needs. We have to do it with paper, and we don't need that the politics came here to see how the story is. We need they came here to help us as a society. We need help, because here, as you know, is Valencia, and yesterday my father, my brother and I went walking to Valencia, and my grandma and my aunt gave us some bottles of water and some paper to wash our hands because we don't have water, and we came there.
And we're seeing now there's a lady there who's just arrived with a trolley with brushes in it. There are lots of volunteers who are coming here.
Yeah.
Lots of people want to help.
I'm so grateful to them, because we don't know them, but they are doing this for love, because I don't know why they are such a good people. I don't know how to say thanks to everyone, because my house was like of mud, and thanks to them we've been doing all this. But from now on, we need more time to clean everything.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for talking to us. And I hope that you get everything settled back soon. There's going to be a special programme on Sky News tonight. The World at 9 o'clock is going to be live from here in Valencia, and we're going to have continuing coverage of the situation throughout the day. Business Live is coming up next, though.